Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivajakacharya Ashotara Sata Sri Srimati Magdes Esi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jaya Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivajakacharya Ashotara Sata Sri Srimati Magdes Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्यामा कुंद राधा कुंज गिरिधवधाम की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय श्रीमती तुलसी देवी की जय भक्ति देवी की जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय श्री श्री गौनिताई की जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ सुभद्रा बलदेव की जय गौर प्रेमानंदी all glories to the Sambhavatis, all glories to the Sambhavatis, all glories to the Sambhavatis, all glories to Sri Guru Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vasavutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvesesha Sunyavadi Pastyata Vedatarine. Bhagavad Gita, Acha, ठीक है. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Sri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. We are reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, from the fourth skanda, 21st chapter, sloka number 12. No, not 12, 13. Yeah, 13. Ekada asit mahasatra diksha tatra divavokasam samajaha brahmarishinam cha rajarishinam cha sattama ekadasin mahasatra diksha tatra divavokasam samajo brahmarishinam cha rajarshinam cha sattama ekadasin mahasatra diksha tatra divokasam samajo brahmarishinam cha rajarshinam cha sattama ekadasin mahasatra diksha tatra divokasam samajo brahmarishinam cha rajarshinam cha sattama. Vaishnavis, ekada, once upon a time, asit, took a vow, mahasatra, great sacrifice, diksha, initiation, tatra, in that function, diva o kasam, of the demigods, samajaha, assembly, Brahma Rishinam, of great saintly Brahmanas, cha, also, Raja Rishinam, of great saintly kings, cha, also, Sattama, the greatest of devotees. Translation: once upon a time, King Prithu initiated the performance of a very great sacrifice in which great saintly sages, brahmanas, demigods from higher planetary systems, and great saintly kings known as Rajarshis all assembled together. Please repeat. Once upon a time, King Prithu initiated the performance of a very great sacrifice in which great saintly sages, brahmanas, demigods from higher planetary systems, and great saintly kings known as Raja Rishis all assembled together. Sri Sri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai, Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev ki Jai. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the most significant point is that although King Prithu's residential quarters were in India, between the rivers Ganga and Yamuna, the demigods also participated in the great sacrifice he performed. This indicates that formerly the demigods used to come to this planet. Similarly, great personalities like Arjuna, Yudhishthir, and many others used to visit higher planetary systems. Thus, there was interplanetary communication via suitable airplanes and space vehicles. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapada Kamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Ladita Sri Visakamritansya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This chapter entitled Instructions by Maharaj Prithu. When did Maharaj Prithu give instructions to his citizens and other great saintly personalities present? It was on the occasion of a great satra. Satra means yagya. Yagya means a great assembly where the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is glorified. As Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheswaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Yadvamam Shantim Ruchati. So the secret of peace and prosperity is given in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna, and it was followed scrupulously, very faithfully, with great devotion and enthusiasm by Maharaj Prithu. Therefore, Maharaj Prithu is glorified throughout the world, even to this day, through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, as the Adi Raja, the ideal king, who at the beginning performed sacrifices for the glorification of Lord Krishna and to enlighten all the citizens. It is on that occasion that King Prithu gave a famous lecture that will be described in the next slokas of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that at the beginning of creation, he sent forth yagyas and all the paraphernalia and all the demigods also to participate in the yagyas. So it is a performance that is compulsory by the leaders of society. And if they do so, then without any doubt, there will be happiness for everyone and plenty of resources, and everybody will be peacefully engaged in Krishna consciousness. That is the most important item of Satra or Yagya here, started by King Prithu. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yagyad bhavati parjanyo yagya karma samudbhava. This sloka has been explained by King Prithu in his teachings, instructions, and he follows scrupulously this system of yagya. As Lord Krishna says, that everyone in this material world subsists on food grains, anna annat bhavanti bhutani. And how anna is made available? Through parjanya dhanna sambhavaha. Because there must be rain. If there is rain, then anna or food grains will grow luxuriously. If there is no grain, if there is no rain, then no grain. So that is the system in the creation of the Lord, very clearly explained. And then how this parjanya will come? Yad yad bhavati parjanyo. Parjanya or rain is coming out of yagya. Yagya karma samudbhavaha. And what is this yagya? Yagya means to engage in one's occupational duty, to follow the varnashram system. So King Prithu will give a lecture, emphasizes the importance of anna, of parjanya, of yagya, and karma. Karma means karma for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Varnashram Dharma. Varnashrama charavate purushena parapuman Vishnu raradhyate. By performance of Varnashram Dharma for the satisfaction of the Lord, then everything is complete. So that will be the essence of the teachings of King Prithu. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada explains further that food grains or vegetables are factually eatables. The human being eats different kinds of food grains, vegetables, fruits, etc. And the animals eat the refuse of the food grains and vegetables, grass, plants, etc. Even human beings who are accustomed to eating meat and flesh must also depend on the production of vegetation in order to eat the animals. So everybody, including the most fallen and the most exalted personalities, they depend for their subsistence on the production of food grains. So we remember also that practically speaking, Srila Prabhupada emphasized this point in his activities. Srila Prabhupada started farm communities. What was the objective of the farm communities? To produce food grains according to the traditional Vedic system. And there was a press conference, I remember, here, 40 kilometers from here, Prabhupada has started the new Naimisharanya project, a very big farm, extensive land, measuring about 565 acres, given by the Badruka family. And at that time, there was a press conference to inaugurate the project. And one of the reporters, he told Srila Prabhupada that, Swamiji, this land is not good. It is red. It is dry land. See, mostly Telangana, lot of dry land is there. So this is also dry land. So we do not know that how far you will be able to cultivate and take advantage of this land, which is very dry. And Prabhupada answered to this, every inch of land is more valuable than gold. Oh, nobody could understand what Prabhupada meant by that. Even the disciples, they were just trying to understand what Prabhupada is telling, more than gold. And Prabhupada explained, Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyadana sambhavaha. Yagyad bhavati parjanyo yagya karma samudbhava. So now it may appear that the land is dry, but if there is performance of yagya, then the rain will come, and through the rain, plenty of food grains will be produced. That is why Srila Prabhupada had in mind, he never deviated from teachings of Lord Krishna. People may not understand how through yagya rain is coming. Who can understand? But Prabhupada understood clearly, this is Lord Krishna's teachings. I'm simply repeating that whatever Krishna is telling, by performance of yagya, everything will be made available, and the whole land will be a golden land. And another press conference that was held at the temporary temple here on the Nampally Station Road at that time, 1973. And one of the reporters, I think the Hindu reporter, he asked from Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, what is your philosophy? Do you belong to Visishtadvaita Vad or Dvaita Vad or Dvaita Vad? Can you explain clearly where do you stand in philosophy? So Prabhupada answered to this, Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhava. Same sloka Prabhupada repeated. Prabhupada didn't try to give elaborate speculation or philosophical, more that would seem more philosophical answer. And everybody in the assembly, including the disciples and other reporters, they were surprised. Why Swamiji is quoting this sloka, Bhagavad Gita? And one disciple came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, he is asking a philosophical question regarding what is the position of our philosophy. And Prabhupada repeating, Annad bhavanti bhutani. So it was really a kind of revelation for all of us. We could not understand the importance of this sloka from Bhagavad Gita, which for Srila Prabhupada was central. It is a beginning. So Prabhupada explained, before speaking philosophy, just try to understand this point. First of all, what do you need? You need food grains. Otherwise, how you will be maintaining yourself? Without food grains. That is the most essential beginning. And then how to obtain food grains? Through rain, through yagya. In this way, Prabhupada explained. This is the beginning After that, philosophy comes afterwards. But first of all, just try to understand. Just to try to understand. So that's a very important aspect in Srila Prabhupada's teachings, which sometimes, even to this day also, we may not understand. But those who are witness to these press conferences and by association with Srila Prabhupada, that was very clear. In one program arranged in New York City, in the beginning, Brahmananda, at that time, Brahmananda and others had arranged for a program for Srila Prabhupada to give lecture, and they had made publicity, they had rented a hall for people to come. So when the time came for the program, then they entered to the stage and they saw, oh, nobody is there. Nobody had come, practically speaking. And Brahmananda was very sorry. And he told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I'm very sorry that this program is not successful. We made some publicity, but nobody came. So Prabhupada told him, don't be worried, don't be sorry. Don't you see, Narada Muni is there, he has come. And all the demigods, they are present. So what more do you want? That was Prabhupada's vision. That, as it is said here, that King Prithu did this yagya, and all the demigods, all the great sages were also present. So when there is yagya, then certainly, by the will of Krishna, all the demigods and great personalities of the universe are also participating, either in a visible form or invisibly. But Prabhupada could see that no matter that ordinary people may not have come, but great personalities are present, and that is more important. So, Yagya, Yadyat Bhavati Pardanya. We are celebrating now the 50 years anniversary of Iskcon Hyderabad. I want to speak a little more about this because that is also inaugural Satra or Yagya, just like King Prithu also inaugurated his ruler as a ruler by Yagya. So Srila Prabhupada also, he came to Hyderabad. He landed here in Begumpet Airport, 16 November 1972. So today is 19. So Prabhupada has been here for the last 3 days. We can remember that Prabhupada came here to bestow his mercy to the inhabitants of Hyderabad. Prabhupada had idea to preach throughout India, and so far he had gone to North India, Western India, Eastern India. South India was a very big field of preaching that Srila Prabhupada wanted to take up. And Hyderabad being the gateway to South India, Prabhupada came here to inaugurate this South India Yatra. So at that time, there was no Iskcon society here in Hyderabad. Nobody was here. There was no preaching, except that in 1971, Tamal Krishna Goswami had given some lectures in Secunderabad, but afterwards there was no organization here at all. So when Prabhupada decided to come to Hyderabad, then from Calcutta, management, Bhavananda Prabhu and others, they, Mahamsa at that time also, joined the managing team, and they came to Hyderabad a few days before, and they met some of the prominent personalities of the Hyderabad here, especially businessmen from Hyderabad, like the iron merchant Association and Grain Merchant Association and so on. We met them and we told them that our Guru Maharaj is coming. Please form a committee so that we can arrange for a program. We had no idea what is Hyderabad, but somehow by taking some good advice, they told us exhibition ground is a very good place for program, lectures. So they booked the exhibition ground and arranged for stage and so on. All the arrangements were made by this managing committee. There was no place to stay for the disciples who had come from Calcutta, Mayapur, and a few from Vrindavan. And so they stayed in a Jagadish lodge in the Begum Bazaar. So anyway, it was like some adventure. We had no idea what was going to happen next. But somehow, by Krishna's mercy, everything came very nicely. Prabhupada came on the 16th. There was a procession in the Begum Bazaar area. Prabhupada stayed in the house of Sri Panallal Piti, who was the leader of the Marwari community here in Hyderabad, staying in Somajiguda, about 5 kilometers from here about. So Prabhupada came here, and then the 17th, everything was ready for the first program, first lecture, and Prabhupada delivered a lecture in the evening on Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 12th sloka. So there were about maybe 3,000 audience, and we had set up a book table for displaying Prabhupada books in English. There was no Hindi or Telugu literature. But anyway, there was a book table, so that was very auspicious. All the other disciples were on the stage also and had a kirtan. And then Prabhupada started to give his lecture on Bhagavad Gita. In his lecture, Prabhupada emphasized the importance of the position of the living entity and the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipa nat chayvana bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. Prabhupada quoted that sloka, 12th sloka, 2nd chapter, to give the position of the living entity. Living entity is eternal. And it was never born in the past. Now it is existing individually, and similarly in the future it will remain eternal individual. That is the quality of the living entity, as all the kings and Lord Krishna himself says, Nat tvevaham. Lord Krishna points out himself first of all. That is also a very important point. Ramanujacharya has given in his commentary about this point, that while Lord Krishna is speaking of himself first of all, generally when a gentleman speaks to some other people, he will not speak of himself first. You and me. But Krishna says, me and you. So that is very important. Me, Krishna, first of all, Krishna. Krishna is eternal. Krishna doesn't take birth and so on. Therefore, also, you and all the kings, they are also similarly having the same eternal nature. Because Krishna is eternal, therefore, all the other living entities are eternal. Therefore, Krishna says, first of all, Nat tvevaham, because me, I'm eternal, you are eternal. So everything comes from Krishna. All the qualities of Krishna are there in all the living entities, but in minute quantity. in minute quantities. So in his lecture, Prabhupada defeats the Mayavad theory of complete oneness. Prabhupada understood, he knew very well, that South India is very strong in Mayavad followers. Shankaracharya has given his teachings here from South India. Of course, all the other Vaishnava philosophers and devotees, they also come from South India. But Shankaracharya was very strong. So Prabhupada made a point to defeat the Mayavad philosophy in his lectures here in Hyderabad very clearly. So that was a very nice lecture that he gave at that time, giving the definition of the living entity as compared to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The living entity is eternal servant of Krishna. That is the Swarupa, Jiva Swarupa. Not that there is complete oneness. That is Mayavad philosophy, which will not be able to help us in our God realization. On the contrary, anyone who hears this Mayavad philosophy is doomed, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that Mayavad Suni Hoil Sarvanash. Everything is doomed by simply hearing favorably the Mayavad philosophy. So that was a very important point in Srila Prabhupada's teachings here in Hyderabad regarding the eternal servitorship of the living entity to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada writes in the comments also in the Bhagavad Gita that Yajna, specifically the Sankirtan Yajna, prescribed for this age, must therefore be performed to save us at least from scarcity of food supply. So many complaints are there nowadays, and as we progress more and more in the Kali Yuga, the supply of food grains may be more and more difficult. And more dry land, scarcity of rain, and for so many other reasons, food grains will be in short supply. But actually, there is no shortage of food. It is only our attitude, our godless attitude, that is preventing us from taking advantage of these food grains. Prabhupada himself saw that when he was in America, such a rich country with plenty of food grains, by the grace of Lord Krishna, but in order to maintain the price, the market price of the food grains, the people used to throw the food grains into the ocean. So there will be not too much production, too much available food grains on the market, and the price will be sustained at a higher level. Other parts of the world, there was scarcity of food grains, but that they did not think that let us give, even free of cost, we can give to these people who are starving. But no, they were throwing in the ocean to maintain the price. So Prabhupada took notice of this, and he was very concerned. And so by performance of yajna, rain will come. And by rain, food grains will come. That is the importance of the yajna, besides having the spiritual importance. Because by performance of yajna, the Supreme Lord is directly the beneficiary, and by pleasing the Supreme Lord in this way, then there is a spiritual advancement for those who are performing the yajna. So in this age of Kali, Krishna Varnam Krishna Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayaya Yajantihi Sumedasa. People may not know the importance of this sloka introducing the Sankirtan Yagya for the age of Kali. When we speak to other Vaishnav Sampradaya members, including in UDP or other Sri Vaishnavas, they have not taken importance of this sloka, introducing the Sankirtan Yagya. They are still continuing very much emphasizing the importance of the deity worship, so UDP and other places were very important places of deity worship. They are still maintaining. But when we tell them, yes, you continue your deity worship, that is very good. As far as you can do it, you continue. But as Kali Yuga will progress more and more, then your deity worship will become more and more difficult to sustain. And what is next? What to do next? Now also you should start Sankirtan Yagya. Along with the deity worship, Sankirtan Yagya should be performed. That is the advice given Sanatan Goswami in his book, that along with the deity worship, Sankirtan Yagya, that is introduced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the benefit of people of Kali Yuga. Now expectation of life is reducing, but it doesn't mean that the age has become more inauspicious. It is actually auspicious, because by Sankirtan Yagya, very quickly we can achieve perfection of life and go back home, back to Godhead. Even though life may be very short, we cannot do meditation for thousands of years. We cannot do costly yagya like Prithu Maharaj or Yudhishthir Maharaj. And deity worship still can be done to some extent, but even then also, we have to be very careful about maintaining the proper standard, cleanliness, punctuality, and so on. There's a very strict program. For instance, Prabhupada was telling his disciples that if you don't have sufficient manpower in the temple, then don't install Hare Krishna. You can have Gaur-Nitai, Panchatattva, and Guru. So by worshipping Guru Gauranga in a simple manner, without elaborate worship, you can go on. You can maintain your temple. That is not the most important. Most important, you have to do Sankirtan Yagya. Daily, you have to go outside 2 hours, 3 hours or more, and enliven the local people, and so that they will be enthused and they will take interest in the Sankirtan movement, and they will come. And then you give lecture in the temple. People will come and they'll be able to understand this philosophy of Krishna consciousness gradually. So deity worship is not the first consideration. The Sankirtan is the first consideration. And like traveling parties also we had at that time. Then how to install deities in a bus. That is very difficult. We cannot maintain the proper standard. At one point in one bus they had installed deities, Radha Krishna. And because the bus was going like this, left and right, then the deity fell down. So it came to the notice of Prabhupada. He was very concerned with this. It is a great offense. Why you are bringing deities in the bus if you cannot maintain properly the deity worship in this manner? It's a great offense. You just have Panchatattva and Guru. simple worship can be done, even by painting or photo. That is also sufficient. Sankirtan is essential. And Sankirtan includes book distribution. Side by side. You chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With the kartras, mridanga, and book distribution. That is a super Sankirtan. What the mridanga can be heard 1 block away, but the books can be distributed and they'll go throughout the country. Thousands of miles away they can go. That is the benefit of the book distribution. That is super excellent Sankirtan. So these are the aspects that Srila Prabhupada introduced, and that is why the Iskcon society has been able to maintain itself. Srila Prabhupada came here 50 years ago and introduced the Sankirtan Yagya, and that was the starting point of Iskcon mission here in Hyderabad. Gradually, there was disciples remain here, and by the goodwill of some of the members, personalities of Hyderabad, especially Mr. Jipula Reddy, at that time during the program, he came to Srila Prabhupada and he told Prabhupada, Swamiji, I have seen your Sankirtan in London. I was very much surprised how these European people, how they are doing kirtan in the street. I was very happy to see this when I was in London just recently. And I came back to Hyderabad. Again, I see the same Sankirtan here, the European Americans. I'm very, very happy. And I want to give land to you for your mission to stay here. Kindly, you establish a temple here in Hyderabad. So he gave this piece of land here in the center of the city. So that is the potency of Sankirtan Yagya, especially from a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. Everything came very favorably, in a very auspicious manner. At that time, we had no temple, land. Immediately, we started to excavate the land and so on. That was from 1973 onwards and so on. So from Sankirtan Yagya, everything is possible. Everything becomes auspicious when the pure devotee is leading the mission, like Srila Prabhupada. So we can end this here. Any other questions or comments? Yes. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that was there in 72 also. I just forgot to mention this, that there was, at that time, Hyderabad had not received any rain during the monsoon season. And the program came in November. November is not for rain. It is the beginning of winter season. So generally, there is no rain in November. But at that time, during Prabhupada's program, suddenly rain came, very forceful, abundant rain came. And the next day in the newspaper, local newspaper, there was a title, Swamiji brings rain to the city. So that is Yagyad Bhavati Parjanyo. Exactly. That was the illustration of this Bhagavad Gita teachings of Lord Krishna. Only through Yagya, everything is auspicious. Rain come, food grains come, and everything else, all the spiritual consciousness is coming. Everything is coming. So that was one of the highlights also of that program. So 50 years, we can, just like people in general, they celebrate marriage ceremony, 50 years marriage ceremony. Oh, very great celebration. As somebody become the 50 years of age, oh, 50 years. Very good, very auspicious. So we are this temple, or this Iskcon, not the temple, but the Iskcon society in Hyderabad is 50 years. So even though it may be material consideration, but we can take it in a spiritual angle, that by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, Iskcon has been flourishing, not only in Hyderabad, but throughout the world, despite so many years. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Hare. Yes, through Sankirtan Yagya, book distribution, and preaching in the temple, preaching Bhagavad Gita lecture, Srimad Bhagavatam lecture, that is also Sankirtan. Everything is Kirtan, Sankirtan. So that is also part of the Yagya. Prabhupada established also, in all the temples, compulsory lecture must be there. Just like in New York City, at the beginning, 26 Second Avenue, there was lecture, Prabhupada used to give lecture. Every temple established by Iskcon, there must be lecture. So our temple are not the same as other temples. When Prabhupada was here in after 76 opening of the temple, somebody came and told Prabhupada, Swamiji, why you are building such a new temple? So many other temples outside you could take and you could develop. So many temples are there which nobody cares for. So why you are building new temple? So Prabhupada answered to this that yes, our temples are different. Our temples are different. In this temple, there is Sankirtan Yagya and there are lectures. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, these are centers for spiritual education, spiritual university. Prabhupada established not ordinary temples, spiritual universities where teachings of Lord Krishna are explained to the public at large, those who are coming to the temple. They can hear teachings of Bhagavad Gita. In other temples, you don't hear such teachings. That is a difference. That is why Prabhupada established this new temple, so that the teachings of Lord Krishna can be understood and everybody can be benefited, all auspiciousness. When another person asked from, he was a university professor came at that time, and Prabhupada asked him a question, that how many students do you have in your department, philosophy department? That professor, he was looking at his, maybe 3 or 4 students are there, Swamiji. So Prabhupada understood. You see, you are maintaining a philosophy department just for 3 or 4 students. But because philosophy department is very prestigious, unless you have a philosophy department, you may not be recognized by the central government or whatever. You will not be recognized as a as a university, you must maintain that philosophy department, even though 3 or 4 students are there. So Prabhupada understood, he knew very well that in this age, who is interested in philosophy? But in our temples, spiritual philosophy is taught, and we can have hundreds, thousands of people coming to our programs to hear the philosophy. So in this way, we have to understand the importance, even though maybe only a few people may come, but gradually, this is the method that Prabhupada wanted to establish, that Sankirtan means music, dancing, mridanga, kartas, book distribution, and teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So the whole combination is what is meant by our Krishna conscious mission. Any other questions? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes. So we have brought some books here. So now
for the first time, if they don't have any books, they can take now, and it is in a discount price also. So you can take under
auspicious occasion, 50 years of Iskcon Hyderabad and marathon, book distribution marathon, very auspicious time. So those who don't have these books, they can come forward and take away some of these books, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna book, Srimad Bhagavatam.
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Many other books are there. In Telugu, we have printed Prabhupada's life and activities, preaching, Srila Prabhupada book. This is Krishna book in Telugu language, also printed from here. Hare Krishna.
మీ దగ్గర అయితే ఎవరికైతే బుక్స్ లేవో ఇప్పుడు వచ్చి తీసుకోవచ్చు అనమాట. ఇక్కడ ఉంటాయి. మీకు మొదటి స్కందం కూడా ఇక్కడ దొరుకుతుంది అనమాట. అంతేకాకుండా శ్రీల ప్రభుపాద వారి జీవిత చరిత్ర ఇక్కడ ఇంతకుముందు ఏమైతే చెప్పారో అది ఇందులో ఉంది తెలుగులో. మీకు ఇంకా కావాలంటే కూడా శ్రీమద్ భాగవతం హిందీ, ఇంగ్లీష్, తెలుగు, అదర్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ కూడా దొరుకుతాయి. ఒరియా, బెంగాలీ, ఏ లాంగ్వేజ్ కావాలన్నా ఇప్పుడు తీసుకోవచ్చు. డిస్కౌంట్ ప్రైస్లో ఉన్నాయి. మహారాజుల వారు ప్రభుపాద వారి శిష్యులు మీకు సైన్ చేసి ఇస్తారనమాట. ఆనందమయ ప్రభు. మంచి సదా అవకాశం, తీసుకోండి బుక్స్. హరే కృష్ణ.